Hello financial investors and welcome to the channel. My name is Brent and in today's video we are going to be doing our stock market weekly recap for the 12th through the 16th of October 2020. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the prior week to this past week. Then we're going to go ahead and cover the four main indexes, go over whether they were positive or negative, take a look at the entire S&P 500 performance for the week, what stocks were up, what stocks were down, what sectors were stronger, what sectors were weaker. Then we'll take a look at the oil, dollar, silver, gold, bonds, and wrapping it up by taking a look at the mortgage rates and the 10-year yield. So these are just quick recaps of the week to kind of measure what took place on the following week or the past week. That way, right now we're going into election. We are 1 month away from election already. And right now the markets are kind of fluctuating. They were down for a bit, now they were up for a bit, now they're basically flat this past week. So we'll take a look at it and kind of see, does this performance happen on a 4 yearly cycle? But we've had also the illness in 2020, so there's a lot going on this year. So if you are brand new to the channel, have not yet subscribed, go down below, hit the red button to subscribe, make it gray, hit the bell to be notified every time we release a brand new video, and of course give this video a thumbs up if you find it fun, entertaining, just kind of helpful. And let's go ahead and get into the video. So the week going into this week, we're pretty positive with the Russell 2000 putting in a whopping 6.36, followed by the NASDAQ at 4.56. Then the Dow Jones, S&P 500 at 3.84, and the Dow Jones there at 3.27. So we had a really explosive week going into this week. So I had expected a bit of a simmering or potentially even a downwards trend of anywhere from 1 to 2%. So let's see what the markets did this week. Well, the S&P 500 stayed essentially flat but to the upside, with on Monday gaining a whopping 1.64% before retracting and kind of losing it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and essentially flat there on Friday. So kind of an interesting turnout of the week. I was expecting actually a bit of a pullback just because of the big pop that we had the week prior. So we are still up nicely year to date by 7.83%. The Dow Jones this week also basically flat but to the upside of 0.07%. Essentially the same performance. Monday wasn't as strong. You can see a 0.88%. I believe that was because of Apple. Apple didn't perform. Maybe it was Friday. Apple didn't perform really well one of these days, and that kind of held the Dow Jones back overall. There's only so many stocks within the Dow Jones versus the S&P 500. This index has about 512 individual companies. The Dow Jones has about 30. So, these 30 companies have a lot more influence in the overall performance of the index versus the others. Now, the better of the four indexes this week is going to be the NASDAQ, and this one popped up 0.79%, but a lot of it came off the tech rally on Monday. A lot of the tech companies out there on Monday shot up very nicely, 2.56%, and regardless of the rest of the week here, being read repetitive day after day after day, it still kept a good chunk of what it had made on Monday. So year to date, the NASDAQ is still the winner and will probably end up being the winner, up 30.08%. And then we have the Russell 2000. This one was the negative performer this week, the only negative performer. But again, the week prior, the Russell 2000 had put on a 6.38% gain, and it is almost coming out of the negative year to date. Right now, it is still down by 2.08%. 5-day change down 0.23%, and it didn't have as well as performance this week. We can see a few bigger dips here on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then on Friday, while the other indexes put on, I know the S&P and the Dow Jones had been positive. Looks like the NASDAQ did go into the red there on Friday, but the Russell had been also red there on Friday, and that's what put it in the negative for the week there. Otherwise, it would have been pretty positive there at the end of the week. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at the 1 week performance here. This is the 1 week performance for this past week, and I really like to use this website. This is called finviz.com. I've had comments over where I get this heat map in is finviz.com. You click on the right hand side on the main page, you see the heat map here. Now here we can see the sectors. There wasn't any one sector that was just solid red. Every sector that I see out there, there's a couple instances where there's quite a bit of red, quite a bit of green, but there are still some red spots in there. There are looking like healthcare plans pretty positive there. I would say healthcare plans could potentially be pretty positive, but we can see just about every other sector out there. Consumer defensive, discount stores, that was kind of positive out there. So we have the healthcare plans, and we have the consumer defensive discount stores. Those are essentially the two little sectors in the market that were pretty positive within the S&P 500. Now every other little sector was mixed. We had Microsoft and Apple doing pretty good, but you see at the other end we had Oracle and a few others in there kind of being a little bit red. Both of the communications, Verizon, AT&T, red. CenturyLink there is non-applicable, kind of interesting. Real estate, so if you own any REITs, those are pretty negative this week. Mixed in utilities. Banks, we had the PayPal being positive by 3.64%, but Verizon and MasterCard are pretty negative, a little over 3% there. The banks diversified, or we have the credit, those are credit services. The banks themselves, looks like only JP Morgan was positive by 0.31%, whereas the rest of them, Bank of America down 4.42%. Wells Fargo just become, I think they did some more fraud this past week, and they're down nearly 10% on the week just due to some more fraud issues that they ran across. Seems to be a norm for them every year, and they apologize. And we have Eli Lilly down 6.86%. So again, not a lot of strong sectors out there in the market, but I think that consumer defensive discount stores, if you don't own a Walmart, a Costco, a Target, a Dollar Tree, or Dollar Tree General, those are some companies you may want to consider just adding into your portfolio. Those are some of the best retail companies out there. I wouldn't go out there and just buy any retail. Walmart, Costco, Target, those are some solid picks right there. And it looks like they were pretty positive this past week. You may take a look at them, see if they're worth investing in any further. I think most of those, Target for example, had been beat up pretty hard just a few years ago, and nobody was buying it. And I believe it had a nearly 4 to 6% dividend yield, and now you had both appreciation in the stock price and locked in that very nice yield. So interesting areas to take a look at. Oil this week, flat by 0.14%. The dollar this week, I believe it moved to the upside. Yeah, as the market kind of tanked a little bit, just, essentially stayed flat, sorry. The market was kind of flat. The dollar did move up just slightly from 93.10 to 93.72. Silver and gold here. Silver is down by 4.19%. Gold is also down by 1.56%. Bonds essentially flat at 0.14%. The 10-year rate, it is at 0.74. It used to be at 0.78. So it did decrease by 4 basis points, putting it at 0.74 versus 0.78. That's not a bad decrease there. I'm not sure why it would move by 4 basis points down when the market was kind of flat, but that kind of fluctuates. That's not a bad fluctuation there with the 10-year yield. This was down, I believe, down into the 0.5s for a while. And then we have our fixed mortgage rates. This is you're still getting really good opportunities to get mortgage rates. I see a lot of individuals locking in 15-year rates. I always go with 30 myself. You can get a 30-year rate from 2.25 to 2.75, depending on your credit level. If you have a 740 or above, try and lock in a 2.25 to 2.75. And with inflation, you're essentially paying, nothing. Your home is going to exceed what the cost of that loan is going to cost over the time frame that you live in the home, the way it works out with the math. So that is going to be it. We did release one video this past week. We went over what stocks we're planning on buying. We purchased about almost $1,600 worth of stock. It is negative this week, but you're not investing on a week-to-week basis. You're invested long-term. So I did buy AbbVie this past week, and AbbVie was bought around $87, $88. And eventually when the market recovers, or when that business itself recovers from the current downside that it is happening, along with the market itself, it'll go back up into the 90s. And that is a good buy and hold, especially with it going ex-dividend there on Wednesday. So it is going to be paying out a nice amount of dividends here in the future. So let me know down in the comment section below, are there any specific videos or ideas or topics you'd like to have discussed going over either M1 Finance, Robinhood, the stock market, real estate? Let me know down in the comment section below, what have you been interested in, or what are you doing here? And then also, if you are brand new to my channel, have not yet subscribed, go down below, hit the red button to subscribe, hit the bell to be notified every time we release a brand new video, and of course, give this video a thumbs up, make it blue, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye.